YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. This week on the program, we'll start on the mat with the upcoming North Dakota State High School Wrestling tournaments for both the girls and the boys, starting up on Thursday, February the 15th, rolling through Saturday, February the 17th. Our own James Martin's had an opportunity to talk with the Carrington Cardinals wrestlers. Then we'll dive into the basketball scene. Brent, Hintz, and the West Fargo Horace Hawks, a top 5 ranked program here in Division AA girls basketball, and off to a tremendous start of the season, and they've added to that in the second half as well. Then we'll hear from Randy Syrstad of the Sargent County Bulldogs and Nathan Hoots of the Maple River Raiders as most of their programs are heading to the Region 1 tournament. Then we'll hear from Keenan Konschak here of MPCG, and Landon Olson of Hillsborough Central Valley will be part of our senior spotlight. That and more is still to come. This is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Again, I'm Chase Miller, but let's get to our one-on-one conversations with Carrington Cardinals Wrestling with our own James Martins.
On the Coaches Show, we're talking Carrington Wrestling, and we're chatting with the head coach of the Carrington Boys Wrestling Program, and Josh Kerba. And Josh, a great last couple of weekends. We'll talk about that and the state tournament coming up as well. But first of all, thanks for the time.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. I think anytime we can spread the wrestling news of how our program's doing, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. We'll help you spread that wrestling news here, and some great news to share with the dual and the individual competition. Let's start with the dual competition a couple of weekends ago up in Area-Edmore, coming in second place in that, and some great matches on the way there. Just kind of came up short against Northern Lights, but your thoughts on that regional dual competition?
Yeah, we can start with the Northern Lights match. We had lost to them earlier in the year, and they got a pretty good balanced team. I'll give them credit. They're good. And I think from our end of it, I think we wrestled them a lot better than we had in the past. We gave them a lot better fight, or whatever you want to call it. But give them credit again. They're tough, and we didn't quite get the win. That's okay. But the how they competed was what we liked, so I was okay with it. And then I think we competed and got the results we really wanted against the other teams, specifically, what was it, Area-Edmore, Hillsborough, and the true second match was against Pembina County North.
Yeah, some great match. Oh, sorry, good job.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think we kind of blew the scores kind of wide open on Hillsborough and Pembina County, which I was a lot of, some matches in the past where maybe we had lost or they were close, but this time maybe we got pinned, stuff like that, where it can really help your dual team score. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so some great matches. I was just going to say, took advantage of maybe some illness going around, and some great matchups there against Hillsborough, Pembina County North, and Area-Edmore, as you mentioned. And you got your draw for the state tournament coming up here. You're going to take on the top-seeded Velva Aggies. Your thoughts on the Aggies out northwest? Yeah,
Velva's a really good team. They are the 1 seed, and they beat Lisbon in a duel, actually, in Carrington, at the same time where we lost to Velva and Lisbon that night. Both, I would say, there's a strong arguments from Lisbon to try to get the 1 seed there, and I think there's strong arguments for South Border to get the 2, and there's strong arguments for Velva to be 1. There's some, how it is. There's tournament scoring and there's dual scoring, and anyway, Velva deserves, they got the win in the duel. Can't take that away from them, and that's who we got. So we got to prepare for that match. I think, like I said, all 3 of those teams plus Northern Lights from our region is definitely the top 4 teams. And then I thought we had a chance to get in the 5 seed, but we didn't get it. So we got drawn into number 1, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So our team is different, I think, than maybe it was when we dueled them back before Christmas. And a lot of teams are different. So you got to remember that. People move weight classes. there's just things that happen, specifically weight class changes after Christmas because you get 2-pound allowance, and it just changes the whole landscape.
Yeah, and Josh, again, that was kind of the dual side of things. Great opportunity to maybe pull an upset or maybe just make a splash at the state tournament coming up on Saturday. But before that, you got the state individual tournament and coming in fifth place as a team on your home mats. I got to feel like that was a great feeling being able to host that tournament.
Yeah, the first time having the super regionals, and as the East, I think there's a lot of the top teams are coming out of the East. I think we were half a point out of tying for fourth, which would have been nice, but didn't happen that way. And then, you've had some tournaments all year long that we've been at where Lisbon and South Border are at, and they've been back and forth on who gets first or second on the week, depending on the weekend, in a tournament style, individual style tournament. And then you got Northern Lights, been really tough this year. And then, Oaks poked their way ahead of us. So, I thought we wrestled well. I think obviously there's matches that we could have won that every single program has that, but we're going to try to address a few of those issues in the short week prior to state. But yeah, I think we did a decent job, but we really want to shine this weekend, obviously. But we got our 8 qualifiers, and I think that was like what where we concretely wanted to get, and then we were hoping for a couple extras that were on the bubble type guys that made it to the blood round. 3 guys that made the blood round that lost out but they weren't supposed to make it, but that would have been nice.
You're kind of leading the charge there, I should say, was Corbin Clifton there, I believe 145. Your thoughts on the season that he's been having?
Yeah, he had a great regionals, winning that tournament. He'll be the 2-seeded state, and he's wrestled the Velva kid that's number 1 twice this year. And the last time it was a 1-0 match with, I think it was probably there on their feet in the third period, and Corbin got in on a high outside single high crotch shot and was switching from 1 leg to 2 legs to run it, to change it into a double. And he got stepped over, and if that, maybe he could have finished that shot. It just depends on, it's close. It was a great attempt and short time left. He might have needed a little more time, but good job on Velva for countering that shot. But that could definitely be a rematch in the finals. We'll see.
You had 7 other qualifiers as well. Tell me a little bit about those guys and their journeys to the state tournament.
Well, I think as the 107 Sky Cromlech is a mess, if you want to ask how I really think about it. Because there's been a lot of upset. I don't know, you call them upsets, I guess, but it depends who you ask. But a lot of I beat you, you beat me, he beat you, he beat me. You know what I mean? There's those tons of guys that have all beat each other. And the number 1 kid from Northern Lights, Bodie Henderson's undefeated, and he hasn't really been touched all year. He's kind of in a class of his own right now, unless something was happening at state. But and then other than that, there's been a lot of guys like that I was just talking about. There's been some, are really close matches, and then lose a close match and win that match and close match. But then there's common opponent losses and wins, and so that one's going to be interesting. I think that's a very interesting way on any given day. Who's hot? You know what I mean? Who's going to be on fire? And then at 14, Drew Carr, he took 6th at state last year, so he's got a good shot of being any type of high placer. We want him to be finalist, be a state champion type guy. We'll see how he does. He's got the skills to do it. And, I just don't like to make a lot of predictions out there, but I think anyone that's a returning state champ that has drive, or not state champ, a returning state placer that has drive and work ethic, and shake things up. 133, Gabe Clifton, he wasn't even, he's only a freshman and he wasn't really seedable because of some losses during the season, but he came on really strong at the end, both the dual regions and the individual region, taking fourth. And I just really like the way he's competing right now, and he keeps getting better, and he doesn't really quit, and he's just if you can have that quality, you can get some big wins. So he's doing a great job there. See how his weight shakes out. And then we go up to, we already talked about Corbin Clifton at 145, being a 2 seed, and we're hoping for what I want. And 150, 172, Max Chiabatirano. He's just going to have to wrestle really well there, and he's got the ability to do it. And we'll see how he does, but I would never count Max out. And then 215, we got Callan Garber. He's a, top 4 seed. And we switched him up to 215 at the end of the year. He wrestled 215 for the first part of the season, then we dropped him down to 189. And then we liked his chances up the weight class, so we put him up at 215. And he's definitely got the tools to make some noise at the state tournament. We want a high placing out of him. And then at heavyweight, that's another one of those weights, kind of like 107 that I was talking about, where everybody's beat everybody. And, well, let's see what happens at state. That's all I'm going to say. I think whoever's best prepared mentally can show more than what they're seeded. So, and hopefully, our team's ready to go. I think in the past, we've done a pretty good job of peaking at the right times. And, we're pretty young, but that's okay. That's more experience you got at the state tournament. Try to build off it each year. I think I think we're ready to go, and I think it'll be fun.
Josh, you guys are setting yourselves up great for some good marks at the state tournament coming up this weekend. Anything else you want to mention here on the Coaches Show?
No, it's like, just thanks to all our fans and their families and our school for helping our program strive to get better, and our wrestling club and everyone our alumni, everyone that gives back. It's all important. It takes an army. And I'd like to thank everyone that helps out.
That's the head coach of the Carrington Boys Wrestling Program, Josh Kerbaugh. Josh, thanks for the time. Best of luck this weekend at the state tournament.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
On the Coaches Show, we're talking wrestling as we get towards the end of the season. In fact, we have one tournament left to go, and that's the state tournament coming up this weekend. And we're chatting with Carrington Wrestling girls head coach Mark Pasternak. And Mark, I got to say, looking at your girls and their season, quite a long list of accomplishments. Let's start with the dual competition, East Region, finishing up as the runner-up to Central Cass. Your thoughts on that performance?
Yeah, we came in as the number 3 seed. We had to wrestle Napoleon in the first duel, and we matched up really good against Napoleon. And then we took on Fargo, who we lost to them at the beginning of the year, one of the first duels. And they were the number 2 seed. And we really had some girls shine in that match. There was about 4 or 5 matches that were key in that duel, and we end up being the victor in all 5 of those matches, which propelled us to the finals of that day against Central Cass. So.
And against Central Cass coming up short, but what do you think your ladies learned from that matchup?
I think the biggest thing is that they were up for the Fargo duel. They necessarily weren't up for the Central Cass. I actually think we can give them a good match. We've lost to them twice now. And if we get some of the right matchups that we want, I think we can go with them. Some of the gals have wrestled. Some of our Carrington gals have wrestled their girls several times, and I think that they've been able to close the gap with some of those girls. And I think when we do duel, if we do duel them again at state for some reason, I just think that I think we'll have a better showing than we did the first two times that we did. So.
Taking a look at the state bracket, you got Bismarck Legacy in the quarterfinals. What do you know about the Sabres?
Well, they got some really good individuals. They are one of the top three probably teams in the state for the individual and probably the dual. They are going to be they're going to be tough to beat, but I think if we can get a few matchups here and there, I think maybe we can give them a run for their money and hopefully win some of those swing matches that'll make the difference. And then other flip side of that, some of the girls that aren't favored, they have to dig deep and maybe not give up the pin or give up the tech to save a couple team points. And it'll be a tough task. I know last year we were paired up with Bismarck High, who it was the 2 and the 3 again, but they were the best team in the state. So we'll be up for the challenge definitely with Legacy. So.
It's kind of an interesting sport with girls wrestling, the emergence of girls wrestling. When there's no other sport really where you have Class B schools going up against Class A schools. How does that kind of feel? I think from your team's perspective to have that opportunity to go up against the likes of Bismarck Legacy, Bismarck High, Minot, Fargo.
It's funny you mention that because a lot of us coaches have talked about that a little bit, and I've coached the boys Carrington here in wrestling too, and there was always a mindset going up against the Class A kids for Class B that it wasn't a good mindset. Right now, I don't think our girls really care what town they're from. They just step on the mat and they want to go out there and get their hand raised at the end. So right now, I think our girls got a really good approach to them. It doesn't really matter what town they're from, and it's been really good. We've had some really good success against some of those top tier Class A schools. So I've been really proud of our girls of their accomplishments because there is no other, track and some other things that you might run into some Class A schools, but not at the state tournament. You're not competing with them. So yeah, I've been really proud of the girls of just having the edge on, doesn't matter who they wrestle. They just go up there and wrestle hard. So.
On the individual side, had to feel good getting that opportunity for your girls to wrestle on their home mats.
Yeah, we didn't have very many home things this year, and actually nothing after Christmas, or maybe no, I don't think we had anything after Christmas. So it was really nice to showcase our girls at home, and we had a lot of fans that come out and supported them. So yeah, it was it was really nice for the girls, and for the most part, I thought our girls really wrestled well on Friday night. I think we qualified 7 girls. There was a possibility of one more, but I thought the girls wrestled well. We had 2 in the finals and 3 girls that came back and take third, which was really, really good. So.
Let's delve a little bit deeper into those couple of finalists. You had one champion there at 130 pounds. Of course, champion being Kendra Garcia. Your thoughts on her accomplishments this year and at that individual tournament?
She's really had a nice year, and she had a nice year last year. And all of my girls, it's only their second year, like the Bismarck schools. They've been in it for 3 years. She's had a really nice year. She's at 130 pounds this year, and last year she's at 140. So she was a little outsized, and she was still she still placed 7th last year. But she's had a really, really good year. It just happens that she's got a really tough Bismarck girl, Julia Ariario, in her weight class. But she's. She has the number 2 seed in that weight bracket at state, but she's had a really, really nice year, and she just keeps improving every day and learning. And she's going to be fun to watch come state tournament in the next couple of years. So.
Yeah, another finalist at 250 and Ashley Lindberg. Again, your thoughts on her accomplishment? Yeah,
and she's also had a really nice year. We end up defaulting in the finals with her. She's got a nagging injury a little bit, but she is another one that's really worked into an awesome wrestler. She's improved through the year. She's beaten a couple really good girls during the year. Beat the Bismarck girl, and she ended up getting the 3rd seed at the state tournament. And it's funny because we only have a 170 pounder and her in the practice room. So that's the only practice she gets. And it's really tough for her to get a good feel. And she's been able to figure things out. And, now last year when our girls are wrestling, it was like they wanted to shoot all the time. They wanted to force the action. And now girls are figuring out that you got to be patient with certain things and take your time and set things up. And she is really, really figured out her wrestling game. And she's had a nice season. So.
Why don't you give us a little bit more information about the other 5 qualifiers and kind of the rest of your team there, Carrington?
Okay. We'll start on the bottom. Taya Lura. She ended up taking 3rd in the region, and she is I believe the number 6 seed at the state tournament. She's one that's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. She blew out her elbow early in the year last year, and then at regional she qualified and she blew out her other elbow. And this year she's had a few nagging injuries, but she took 3rd at regionals, wrestled a really, really good tournament. The only match she lost was in the quarterfinals to DeVries from Central Cass, a 3-2 match. Otherwise, she had a really, really good tournament. She'll be the number 6 seed. Jasmine Ybarro at 124. She also had a really good tournament. She lost to Stremick in the semis and came back to take 3rd. She, I believe, is the number 6 or 7 seed. I don't have my brackets in front of me right now. Had a really, really good season too. And then Jasmine's one of those girls that wrestled half the time last year. She was in dance and wrestling. This year she's just picked wrestling, and she has improved so much. She was 1 match away from going to state last year, and now she is actually seated at state. So she's had a really, really nice year. Let's see. The other 3rd place was Carly Lessman, took 3rd at 170. She ended up losing in the semis and then come back to get back into 3rd and 4th and took 3rd. She is a drawn in the state tournament. And then the other 2 girls were Kelsey Newman at 124. She's our 2nd girl at that weight class and had a really good day. She was not, I don't know if she was seated or no, she was seated 9th. She had a really good first match with a girl from South Porter, got a win there. And then to go to state, she had to take on a girl from Central Cass Capon that they're 1-1 with, so to get her into the state tournament. So, and then the other one was Kendall Kovar at 136. She also had a really nice day. She's a 2nd girl at that weight class, and she ended up having a really, really, really good day. And I think she got back in for 5th and 6th and took 5th. So I think those are the 7 girls that we have going. So.
Fantastic. And of course, I believe you mentioned that it's the 2nd year for Carrington girls wrestling. What do you think has been the biggest difference between year 1 and year 2?
Oh, I just think the experience. I mean, last year we had to explain absolutely everything of whether it was technique or practice or matches or how duels happen. And a lot of girls just have the experience under their belt and they know how it works. They know what's expected. I know we went to the regional tournament last year in Grand Forks, and I really thought our girls wrestled a little flat, not being up for it and know what to expect. And this year it just seemed like they had that experience, and it, just a whole year under their belt is huge. So, I think a lot of girls experience that this year. There's a lot of teams that added more girls to their team or added a team. I'm sure they are having their growing pains this year of not having that experience. But like I said, I would say the experience and what to expect. And some of those girls I know did a lot of camps and did extra things this summer to get better too. Jasmine Ybarro would be one of those that she wrestled a lot this summer and did camps, and so did Kendra Garcia. And you can really see it. It shows in their wrestling this year that they have come a long way. So.
And I suppose there could very well be some young ladies that are watching this coaches show, and maybe some parents of some young ladies that are thinking, you know what, that might be something cool. I might want to give that a shot. As an ambassador yourself of wrestling across the state of North Dakota, what are your words of wisdom or your pieces of advice to those future girls wrestlers?
Well, I tell you what, I walked to school here in Carrington over in the high school, the junior high, and I'm always looking for that next girl, that next wrestler. And I always tell them, if you're not interested in any other things and wrestling's maybe something that you are interested, give it a try. We have lots of girls that have started after the season has started because they've seen other girls out for wrestling. They've talked to their friends, how much fun they're having, the things they get to do with it. But I just think it's one of those things that we've been able to talk some girls into that probably aren't into athletics as much as other girls. And they've been able to shine on the mat. So I just think it's another outlet for girls to get out there and to participate in a sport. So,
Mark, anything else you want to mention here on the Coaches Show?
No, I just think we've had a really, really, really good year. The girls have really improved from the beginning of the year, and we just look forward to a good state tournament, and then of the year, the individual and the dual part on Saturday of the state tournament. So,
Carrington head girls wrestling coach Mark Pazdernick joining us here on the Year Live Event Coaches Show. Again, Mark and the Cardinal ladies are off to the state tournament at the Fargo Dome this Thursday, Friday, and of course the dual competition on Saturday. Coach, best of luck. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Join us now from the West Fargo Horace girls basketball team. He's the head coach, Brent Hintz, here as they're off to a really nice season so far on the year. 15-2 with 4 games left to play. One of those is going to be out in Jamestown as well, coming up a little bit. Maybe get you that tournament feel here, Brent, before you get to that EDC tournament. First things first, obviously 17 games in. You got to love your record both in the conference and overall. What has allowed your team this year here, Brent, to kind of take that next step, if you will, and be one of those top 3, top 4 teams in the Eastern Dakota Conference this season?
Yeah, no, it's been really exciting to obviously, have the season we've had so far. And I think, a year of growth has helped a lot. They're a young group, and they're still a young group, but a year has made a big difference, I think, in their growth. I think they've come to understand better what it takes to be successful and win in I guess, the Class AA level now. We have a lot of young players with talent and potential, but with that is trying to get them to understand that when you play a team game, sacrifices have to be made a little bit. And I think our chemistry and our culture is really because of them. They've really wanted that, and they've made a concerted effort to have a better, more improved culture and chemistry this year. And I think that's carried over into success on the court because, when you love your teammates, you play at a different level with each other. And so I think they've become a real tight group who really seem to enjoy being around each other. And I think that's been a huge, huge thing for us.
And obviously, short term, you want to continue that here in February and hopefully into March. Long term here, Brent, I know looking at the roster, and I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, you got no seniors right on your roster. So how does this carry over from this particular year where, if you will, you get that extra gravy, you get that extra, seasoning kind of on your food? You got that last year with this basketball program, making the EDC tournament, playing a game, in the Shack. This year, obviously you're one of the top 3-4 teams with the last couple of games to go. So how do you just continue to improve that chemistry throughout the rest of this year, then obviously once you finally get into those off-season workouts?
Yeah, no, I think last year was big for them just to get a feel for that. We talk a lot about how trying to simulate tournament feel during the season, which isn't always so easy because there's just something different about tournament play. We actually had this conversation yesterday about how you get everybody's best shot, but it's a different kind of shot because you're playing for your season life, so to speak. And it can mean the end of your season, and players and teams dig so deep when that happens, and everything gets magnified, and they play a little harder, and they find a level they didn't know they had. And so it's one thing I've been pretty open about this year, that while we have a lot of, young talent and we have a lot of potential, one thing we don't have is that big game experience. And we've been trying to simulate that as much as possible this year. We played a game down at the Pentagon in early January against a really good team out of South Dakota. And at that time it was 2 undefeated teams. And we try to make it feel like this is big, like Pentagon, 2 undefeated teams, 7 p.m. Saturday night type of thing. And just to try to give them that feel of trying to play under that kind of intensity and that kind of atmosphere, and getting to play Red River and Davies earlier in January was good for us, especially on the road, just to get that feel of going up against a team that, those are 2 teams that very seasoned, very veteran. They have state tournament experience. Red River obviously winning the whole thing last year, and those teams have what we don't have yet, which is that big game experience. And the only way to get that is to get into big games, and we're going to get to play those two teams again next week, the last two games of the regular season, which I'm really excited about because I think it's going to really help us get ready for what we're going to see in the tournament, which is just that next level of intensity.
On the roster side here, Brent, there's two people that I know a lot of folks talk when they say Horace basketball. It's Jaden and Lincoln in some capacity, 1A and 1B, with what Jaden's getting for offers outside of the high school game into college. And people are going, Lincoln, she's only a middle schooler or junior high kid, for crying out loud, right? So that's part one and part two. But when you and I kind of chatted here, there's players who play their roles and find what they're good at on any particular team. And Jordan Christofferson was someone you brought up here. What does just Jordan kind of provide to the Horace Hawks here this season?
Well, first of all, she's 14 years old, but she doesn't look or play like it. And she doesn't talk or act like it. You have to remind yourself sometimes that she's only a freshman. She's very mature, really positive kid. And at 5'11", she's a kid who is really versatile and can do a lot of things. I mean, she is one of our top 3-point shooters percentage wise. She also can go in the lane and score. Around the rim in traffic. She can help handle the ball. Defensively, she's big for us because she can guard really any position 1 through 5. And so she's somebody that really helps make our job as coaches a little easier because you can fit her in almost anywhere. And she provides scoring for us. She provides rebounding for us. She provides energy for us. And on the defensive end, you can switch things because with her, she can literally go from guarding in the post to switch out to guarding a point guard, and she can do it seamlessly, and that's so invaluable.
Someone like Megan Hermstead, who's shooting really well behind the 3-point line, over 40%. Obviously, you want her to shoot the ball, but what else does she provide to the team here this season, Brent?
Yeah, Megan's kind of that kid that's not everybody can appreciate unless you understand what it takes to win basketball games. And while Megan has, a terrific 3-point percentage, around 40%, she is selective in her shooting, and she takes the shots that are there and given to her, and she's led her team in assists just about every game for about the last 3 weeks. She defends. She's a vocal leader for us. I kind of refer to her. She's a little bit like she's the team's mom. She makes sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it. We talk about like low maintenance and no maintenance. She's like a no maintenance kid. She's a kid you don't have to worry about. I mean that as a compliment. Like she's a kid that just always does the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And she's the type of kid you need on a team to win because she really is truly team first, and all she cares about is winning. And whether she scores 2 points or 15 points, if we win the game, she's as excited as anybody. And so kids like that really are important to your team chemistry and your culture.
I was looking at the stats earlier. Jaden's averaging almost 24 points a game, a double-double with those 15-plus rebounds. Lincoln, 87 three-pointers already on the season with 14 points per game. What's that dynamic duo been like this year, Brent, to see the growth and maturation, obviously, of the whole team, but those two particular who get a lot of attention from the opposing team's best players and coaches to try to find a way to minimize their touches or limit what they can do in a particular basketball game?
Yeah, no, I mean, they've definitely, been as consistent as anyone this year for us as far as knowing what you're going to get out of them. They balance each other out really well because, the old school thought is, you got your point guard, you got your post, and you build around that. And, Jaden is someone who has been so consistent and so steady that you can almost, you can put her in for a double-double every night. I mean, which is, don't take that lightly because that just doesn't happen every day. And, but she's been so big for us as far as just the scoring she gives us, the rebounding she gives us. People don't give her enough credit, or talk because they want to talk about the offensive stuff, but how much she's improved on the defensive end this year and how she has really kind of been the anchor for us defensively and taking care of that lane. And she just impacts the game in so many ways, and she creates open shots for her teammates because of the attention. I mean, you get double and triple team, but she gets double and triple team before she ever has the ball, some games. And so it really opens the perimeter for us. And Lakin, people love to talk about her and rightfully and understandably so, because what she's doing as an 8th grader, I can tell you I wasn't doing that as an 8th grader. So, but she has an energy about her. She has just a spark about her, and she can shoot the ball. She handles the ball as well as anybody I've ever coached. Her ball handling ability in traffic is unbelievable. You can tell she's put a lot of time and work into it, and she is learning how to play the point guard position. And the last 4 or 5 weeks, her growth as a point guard has been really noticeable. And it's been really exciting, just starting to understand, when to be assertive offensively, when to get your teammates involved, when to get into our offense, when to push it in transition, and when it just doesn't feel right, and to pull it back and get us into our offense. She's been just her growth the last 5 weeks has been really exciting to see, especially as an 8th grader. And she has a little flair to her game, which I think people love, and we love too, because there's just she just has a fun game. And defensively, she plays with energy on that end, which was really big, because that's something we really try to hang our hat on. We're trying to impart on our kids this year, is the importance of defense, and how offense, sometimes decides to take the day off or doesn't show up always consistently. The ball won't find its way into the basket some nights, but defense you can always play, and she plays with energy on both ends of the floor, which you need your point guard to do.
As you take a look at this year's team, Brent, to this point of the season where we're at, what's a trait, what's a characteristic, what's something that people maybe don't see, every day with this club that you've enjoyed most from your point of view this year, with how you've been able to have, that success obviously on the basketball court, but more importantly, having this team, come together before this stretch run, before you get to that postseason play?
Yeah, 2 things that have really jumped out at me this year with them is one, how they have they have something about them, and I don't know if there's a word to put on it, but they have a competitiveness about them, but they've been able to step up when they need to step up, and they've been able to, when they really need to dig deep and find it, they've been able to do that most of the time this year. And they've shown, we've had moments where maybe our composure isn't where we want it to be, and we've looked young, but more times than not, for how young we are, they've really done a nice job of keeping their composure and keeping their heads about them in a tough situation. And while our record maybe doesn't reflect this, we've had multiple games this year where we've been behind and we've had to come back. And I think that's a huge trait for a team, to feel like they're never out of it and just keep battling. And, we talked about that game down in South Dakota in January, we played quarters that night down there, and we're down 13 early in the 4th quarter, and we come back and win against a really good team. And you don't do that unless you believe, and you can keep your composure, and you can focus your energy the right way. And so, and their ability, which I think kind of goes into this, is our second half adjustments this year have been really just cool to see. We talked a lot early in the season about the importance of second half adjustments and how they can lead to wins. And most nights so far this year, they've done an amazing job of taking what we've talked about at halftime, making the adjustments, and then carrying them over into the second half to have success. And that's the trait that a lot of veteran teams have. And for us to be as young and be able to show that more times than not has been exciting, and I think has a lot of people excited about the potential of this group.
Brent, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck moving forward here throughout the rest of the regular season as you get ready for that EDC tournament.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about our kids. They're great kids, and it's fun to get a chance to share that with everybody else. So
we'll continue on the Coaches Show after this here on YourLiveEvent.com.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
So we come back now earlier in the week on Monday. Maple River, Sargent County played in the District 1 Girls Basketball Championship. Sargent County came out on top and will be the number 1 seed from District 1 heading to Jamestown next week, while Maple River will be the 2 seed. From Sargent County, you had Hallie Nelson of Senior Athlete of the Year, and from Maple River, Nathan Hoots was the Coach of the Year. Here's our post-game conversations with Randy Syrstad, first of Sargent County. Then we'll hear from Nathan Hoots of Maple River.
Litchfield Marion takes second, and then following them, the Lytton HMB Lions. But Randy, before we talk about regionals, let's talk about this tournament. What is it about 32 points defensively in 3 straight games, able to minimize your opponents to? Let's start there. Defense. How did it work, and why did it work so well for 3 games in Wahpeton?
I think the girls really took a hold of that, the defensive side, and really wanted that to work on. I mean, yes, we can score at will, score 4 points we're averaging a game, but they really wanted to hold them down and hold down Hanning and Richmond today especially. So they just took it upon themselves. I told them what we can work on, and they, like I said, they ran with it.
Yeah, there's still a lot more basketball to be played obviously this week with practices and get ready for Monday, but what was the difference there with Hanning scoring 30 the first game and held to 4 points here in this one? What changed defensively from your point of view as a coach here, Randy?
I think just not backing down, like standing her ground and not letting go wherever she wanted. I told the girls, you can still body her up and make her force her where she doesn't want to go, and you won't get fouled, especially inside. I mean, as long as you're straight up and not shoving or going through and displacing the girl, you can do a lot of things down there. So they took that well too.
We heard from Elena Anderson, able to pick up 4 years of this co-op and this senior class, and there's 4 of them. What makes this senior class in this particular season with this new 3-division system so special to come in here and win a district championship here, Randy?
Yeah, to keep those 4, I mean, a couple don't play a whole lot, but, and they do leadership roles on and off the court, especially. Not only are they, great basketball players, a lot of them, but they're also good off the court in school, good at their academics, and good role models for the younger ones in Sargent County.
And then Hallie Nelson, able to win Senior Athlete of the Year. Just talk a little bit about her and her progression, from her freshman year to where she's at now, and just being, named by the coaches the Senior Athlete of the Year in District 1.
Yeah, she definitely earned it. She puts the time in and efforts in on and off the season. I mean, she leads by example, and she is so hard on herself, and it pays off somewhat. You can kind of see it, and sometimes on the frustration on the court, but doing that and being that well, and the youngest of all the Nelsons now too. I mean, she's come a long way and well-rounded of all the 4 Nelson kids too.
As you go through this week here, what's going to be some of the talk? What's going to be some of the transition now as you kind of get, 3 games in 4 days? Now you get about 6 days to get ready for a game next week. What's this next week of basketball kind of going to be like for you, Randy?
Well, we got a long weekend break. Friday and Monday are off, so we kind of got to go around there. And then the boys play a few games here before we start a regional next week. But we got parent-teacher conferences tomorrow night in Milner, and then Gwinner has them Thursday before the break. So it's a lot of back and forth, but I think the girls will do well here. A bit, 4 or 5 good days of at least watching some film on the other teams, realizing what we did earlier on against these teams that we play. We've got Napoleon, so we played them second game of the season. It's been a while, but I'm sure they're working. Herbaley's leading by example over there, and we'll go from there.
Final thing for you, Randy, before we let you go. Trader characteristic. I talked to you about this earlier on the season, but now that we're at this point of the year, kind of getting to that midway point, February frenzy, if you will, what's the Trader characteristic now through 3 games in Wahpeton, coming up a little short against EKM and Maple River, but able to utilize that for these games in Wahpeton? What's a trait that you've liked most throughout this season now into the postseason?
I think our hard work by all of them, whether it's the younger ones, the junior varsity C squad, or the varsity itself. Those 4 seniors set the tone. We got 2 great captains that lead by example with Emma and Hallie, but with Carly Kadoon right there, those juniors, and then Carly as a sophomore, there's a good mix of talent, but they also know how to put forth the effort and have that good attitude too, on and off the court. So I think the hard work would be the most beneficial throughout the season.
Hey, Randy, appreciate your time. Thanks for everything you do with us here at your live event, and best of luck next week once you get to the Buffalo City.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chase. Take care.
That Bean Center's post-game show joined us now from the Maple River perspective. That's their head coach, and Nathan Hoots joined us here. And Nathan, I know obviously on a championship night, not the game overall for 32 minutes that you want. You're up by 1 going after, one quarter play at 10-9, but then Sargent County really broke it open a little bit there in the second and particularly the third. Just from your point of view, I guess what was working from Sargent County that maybe wasn't there the first time you played them in Gwinner, a couple weeks ago here, Hoots?
I think when we played them in January, their defensive activity was lessened a bit by some foul trouble, and that was not the case tonight. They did such a great job of being active in passing lanes and contesting shots without fouling tonight, and that kind of made us hesitate. And when we hesitate, we're not nearly the team that we have been in, for the last several weeks. And for the first time all year, we were really, really struggling to pull the trigger because we were so concerned about their closeouts and their length. And I think that was primarily the difference, especially on the offensive end for us during this game.
The one thing here, Hoots, I was saying on the post-game show a little bit and during the game later on the fourth quarter, saying, if you had to have a bad game, when you have a game in hand, obviously you want to win a district championship and take that championship plaque with you back home. But maybe a catch-22. You got a week of basketball in terms of some practices to get ready for Lytton HMB. Once you get to regionals, they're all good teams. But if there had to be a bad game, better tonight than a week from tonight in a game where it's lose or go home here, Hoots.
I certainly would have enjoyed our team playing a little better in front of this crowd. It was quite the atmosphere. I thought Sargent County just packed their side. That was pretty impressive, and I was really happy with how many people we had. But it wasn't the do or die. So I'm really hoping that next Monday when we play Linton, that we have that do or die mentality in our head, that it's just like, hey, we are not going home tonight, and we're going to do the same thing for hopefully 3 games next week. But we're excited for the challenge and a little bit of a reset. We haven't lost in a while, so we'll see how our girls respond tomorrow at practice.
And I was just going to ask that particular question. What do you take from these 3 games here in Wahpeton moving forward over to this next week of practices before you get to 7:30 roughly, a week from tonight?
Yeah, I would say for 2.5 of our 3 games, we were really good defensively, and I think that's what I'll take from it. Like I said, that first half, we did a lot of really good things defensively. And I tried to change things up, and if I could go back, I'd do it and stick to playing man-to-man because we were doing a pretty good job. And they beat us up in that zone in that third quarter, and it's just something that hopefully I can learn from as a coach and the girls can learn from as players, and we move on and get better.
2 things, obviously a couple of girls to get some recognition from your club. Violet Richmond, Addison Hannig, first team all-district. Able to have Brielle Kaloran as well, second team all-district. Yourself here, coach of the year. When you're able to get those kind of accolades here, Hoots, what does that mean for this program, as we've seen both you and Sargent County get better over the last 3 to 4 years here? But what does it mean from a Maple River side to kind of get that reward and recognition through 9 teams in this district here this season?
Yeah, I think for those 3 girls, it's just the recognition of all the hard work that they do in the off season, and then getting better from November 13th to today. So I'm excited for them to earn some accolades and get that pat on the back from everybody in our community, and even as they left the gym tonight, it's well-deserved recognition for them, for all the hard work that they've done.
And final thing for you, Hoots, on the opposite side, Hallie Nelson, Senior Athlete of the Year, played like it, a double-double here tonight. What is it like going up against her from your point of view? Because I know this is the last one from districts. Who knows what's going to happen once you get to regionals, but what is it like going up against Hallie Nelson?
Miserable, in a word. Her length and her activity tonight was something that we could not handle. She's an absolute difference maker when she's on the floor. You can feel it when she's not on the floor. Just same thing with Carly Kadoon. As soon as they get a sub for her, you can feel the difference in the defense. They're fantastic players. Offensively, their ability to rise and shoot over top of our length is something that we don't see. Something we saw in years past, but we didn't see it all this year. They got a really good chance to go a long ways this year. We know that we didn't play any scrub team tonight. They're they're a top team in the state, no doubt about it, and they played like it tonight.
Hey, Hoots, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on being Coach of the Year in District 1, and best of luck moving forward into the Buffalo City coming up next week.
Thanks, Chase.
That again, Nathan Hoots, head coach for the Maple River Raiders. We'll continue on our Petro Stopping Center's post.
College goes far beyond the buildings, classrooms, and the tests. It's about making new friends, trying something different, and discovering your purpose. It's about getting involved, supporting your community, and joining the conversation. It's about learning, growing, and finding your passion. This is not your average classroom. This is the University of Minnesota Crookston.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada, invites you to order your new Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazer, and Traverse, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet dealer, providing sales and service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch Smurfer J. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada. Call 218-784-2000.
I'm Freya Engen. I'm confident during the match, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Lily Bell. I'm confident on the court, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Also making it to the Region Class B tournament as well, Keenan Konschak here, the Mayport CG Patriots in Region 2, and Rob Scherr of the Langdon Area-Edmore-Munich Cardinals out of Region 2 as well will be heading to that regional tournament. Here's our conversations with James Martins with Keenan Konschak here of Mayport CG.
On the Coaches Show here this evening, talking Mayport CG girls basketball and Keenan Konschak, the head coach of the Patriots, coming off a District 4 championship and a 20-2 season up to this point, regular season and the district tournament included. Coach, first of all, thanks for the time. Congrats on the championship.
Hey, thanks, man. It's been a fun run. Thanks for your guys' coverage throughout the year too. It's been a great year for us so far. Obviously, with that 20-2 record. With the only 2 losses coming to some Class A schools in Carrington and Thompson. So been pretty successful and got the district championship on Monday night. So that was a fun tournament to be part of. So, yeah, it's been a great year so far. Moving on to regionals next.
Coach, in this 20-2 campaign, of course, everybody knew the majority of your squad coming off the volleyball season. They were going to have a special year. But what's really impressed you the most about this run so far?
Just the tenacity, like just getting after it on the defensive side. We could press, we could do a lot of different things, but our half-court man-to-man defense, especially in this district tournament, has been something special. These girls just get after it. You think of teams that press and they create all these turnovers. Well, we create turnovers in our half-court too. Then we have the speed where we can go out and finish those fast break layups too. So it's not like we're just pressing. Like we take care of the ball. And take care of the not giving up any easy baskets. We rebound the ball really well. So it comes down to the athleticism of these girls and the tenacity on the defensive side, just the want to do it. So that's been the funnest part.
Taking a look at your district tournament, you mentioned the tenacity and the defense and the turnovers. And if someone's watching and think, well, that's just his words for it, let's take a look at the quarterfinal win in the district tournament against Warwick, 69-14. 14 points allowed in that game. I can't imagine you would have much to say to improve on defense in that one.
Yeah, again, creating a lot of turnovers, and that was our JV came in. We got some great varsity minutes too. Then our JV came in and just continued that trend in that game too. So, that ball pressure that we put on people, it's constant from the opening tip to the till that final buzzer sounds, it gets in your head. Like you have to try to get a good shot. You can't take bad shots because we're going to make you pay for it. So yeah, in that game, it was, again, that tenacity. I think we caused like 35 turnovers in that game. So, and then that leads to some offense too. So even though we might not shoot the ball very well some nights, not making our free throws or threes, we can always play good defense.
2 more double-digit wins in the semis and the championship over Hatton Northwood and Benson County, respectively. Your thoughts on the rest of the district tournament?
Yeah, so the semis against Hatton Northwood, obviously they're one of their best players got hurt, all right, a few games ago, so they were without her, but I thought they played well. They're starting to find their own with the new other girls stepping up to replace Kenneth and Azure. So they played well. All right, they got the ball inside. I know that was a focus for their team, trying to get the ball inside on us because we do not have a lot of height, if you didn't notice. But like I said, we put so much ball pressure on teams, it really makes it difficult for them to get the ball into the post. And also at the same time, we do a pretty good job of fronting the post too, so it makes it even tougher. So yeah, just a little bit different philosophy there in that game. We want to make sure we take away their inside game, and we did that. We caused a lot of turnovers again that game too, and started knocking down some shots in that second half. I think we had a very good second quarter too. So yeah, it was a great game for us in that semifinal matchup against Hatton Northwood.
And then Benson County for the championship, certainly no joke there.
Yeah, that was 2 teams that really wanted to get after it. Coach Kenner at Benson County, I can't say enough about how well a job he's done this year with those young girls. Just that their tenacity is matching ours in that first half. They just got after us and created quite a few turnovers, and we had some stupid turnovers here or there. But yeah, we had very few open looks too, and when the ones we didn't knock down too. So we didn't shoot the ball particularly well in that second half. I think we finally started to open up a little bit towards the end of the third quarter. Put some nice runs together, and it starts with defense. We got a few stops, got some turnovers and some transition baskets too, which is big in those types of games. The environment was pretty cool too. Like both sides were, the Benson County fans were there, the Mayport fans were there, so it was a pretty good atmosphere. It's nice to be back in the district tournaments again, and it's good for the players. Yeah, came through in that fourth quarter, knocked down some free throws, so it was great to see.
Yeah, kind of expand on that a little bit. We're talking on the show as well with Rob Scherr, the District 4 champion, Langdon Area-Edmore-Munich Cardinals, and him saying the same thing, that the district tournament really has been a benefit for your ladies to go back to that structure.
Yeah, so it's been a few years, right? And we, when I was coaching boys in Hatton Northwood, we always had great runs into that district tournament. You always remember those tournament type of atmospheres. We were always at Mayville State, but yeah, playing in New Rockford, same type of thing. The fans were there right on top of you on every call, all right? The officiating was great, and we just continued to persevere. Like everything that was thrown in front of us, we continued to just go make a play out of it. So with the senior-led group that we have, this district tournament is a great way for them to kind of end their senior years, all right, on their way out for college. So district tournaments are great. I love them.
And going on to the regional tournament, you draw Park River Fortville Lincoln on Monday, a team you doubled up on to start 2024. Your thoughts on Lauren Bell and seeing those Aggies the second time?
Yeah, so they do a very good job of their high-low game against teams. They have a great, like you said, the Bell girl inside that can seal you almost every time and get easy baskets inside. So it was the first game of the year that we played right after New Year's Eve. So I think we played them on the second. It was like a Saturday afternoon game. We went up to Park River, and we just, again, very tenacious on defense that time too. We made a huge adjustment at halftime, and it wasn't on the coaching. It was the girls that decided what we're going to do in the second half, and they really took ownership of that and D'd up in that second half against that high-low situation. So it worked out great for us, and we started knocking down some outside shots too. So it was a great game, and we're looking forward to another great one on Monday against them.
Coach, again, just so impressed with your unit. It starts with that great senior leadership and some great things, some great developments so far this season. But what are some things that the Patriots still have yet to kind of master or reach before we get further down in the postseason?
Well, before the district tournament, we always talk about, you're going to have to rebound. All right. And that's, we've been doing a great job in the district tournament so far. All right. We haven't played a lot of dominant posts, which not a lot of teams have good big girls that know how to rebound like that. So that can be a challenge for us. But like I said, we usually do a great job of boxing out, usually do a great job of just finishing every defensive possession. So that's one thing that we always talk about. But the biggest thing would probably be the turnovers. We've been turning the ball over too much, but it's kind of a double-edged sword on that one too. Like, we have turnovers that we're trying to make plays on. Right? I'm not mad about that. Like, if we got a fast break, all right, and you just missed that bounce pass that would have got us a layup, that's a mistake. It happens, right? You didn't get it this time. Move on to the next play. But it's the ones where it's the lazy handoff or the cross-court pass where that's not going to get there against a good team. You're not really trying to make a play on that one. So we want to make sure we cut down on those. And I think we're starting to focus on those a little bit too. And we told our girls too, we got to make sure that our 2 and our 3, our guards are really wanting the basketball, right? If you don't want the basketball, you're going to be tentative. You're going to get it tipped away. Good teams will take it from you. All right. We got to be the ones that are aggressive with our guards. So we've been working on that. And that's something that I see a lot in this district tournament. So that was another reason, a good reason to have that district tournament type of atmosphere. So you don't have to wait to regionals.
And now we get to regionals, and of course, the format this year is more beneficial to the teams than ever. And the fact that not just the region champion gets an extra game or extra 3 games, but the second and third place teams get an opportunity as well.
Oh my gosh, is that a good idea or what? Like, that is, I don't know anyone who wouldn't like that, right? And you think back, like, why didn't we have this back, right? When I was coaching boys with at Northwood, we were always second or third, it seemed like, every year to the Graftons and the Hillsboroughs and the Thompsons. But great format. The playbacks are going to be huge. I mean, obviously that first game is the most important. If you don't win that first game, then you might as well, you're not going to get a playback for that one. So that third and fourth place game will be fun because you got another chance too. It's do or die. So that's what the fans want to see. That's what the parents want to see their daughters go through. So we'll be ready. We have obviously Park River to take care of first, and then the rest of the seeds in that tournament are legit. They're very good basketball teams. So it should be fun.
Keenan, anything else you want to mention on the coaches show as we get to the regional tournament next week?
Yeah, so it's been a great year, obviously, with these seniors. They want this, right? You guys saw it in the volleyball tournament. Like, they're just tenacious. They'll make a bad play, but then they'll come back and try to get it back, right? And that's a really good sign of a good basketball team. So continue this into the region tournament. Our assistant coaches, our bench personnel have been doing a great job as well. Coach Heil and our IDs have been supportive. So both schools getting together, Findlay Scherr has been helping us out great with some walkthroughs and stuff before these tournament games as well. So it's been a fun run so far, and I'm sure that support's going to continue.
Well, I'm sure that this won't be the last time that we see and or talk to Keenan Konschak of Mayport CG girls basketball head coach. Coach, again, congratulations to you and your ladies, of course, on a good regular season, the district championship, and we'll see what happens at regionals. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
On the coaches show here this evening, we're chatting with Rob Scherr of Langdon Area-Edmore-Munich, girls basketball head coach. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on a district title. We were mentioning before the interview, it's been a long while since Langdon Area-Edmore-Munich has played a district tournament. Of course, Region 4 went to Super Regionals a while back. But first of all, how did it feel to go through that district process again?
Well, it was nice having, like 9 teams in the district, because the last time we did play in a district, there was 6 and 4 of us went to the regional. So it was a lot more of a tournament atmosphere, and it was quite awesome experience for all the kids.
Of course, for your ladies, this year a 21-1 record to close out the regular season and district tournament. What impressed you the most about this 21-1 start?
Well, I mean, we started the season, we had, 4 returning starters back and, and who's going to come back and fill in and so forth for the 5th spot and then our bench. And what impressed was we had a lot of growth outside of the 4 starters returning. And then we lost one of our starters who was, very good player, Jaya Henderson, who's been playing for us a long time. She missed about half the season with an ankle injury that was real bad, and she's coming back now. So I mean, that actually helped us get depth, because our depth improved a lot. And so I mean, but we persevered many different angles of teams that brought at us, and that's the most. We stayed calm and things go to tough. We were under pressure. We stayed calm. We didn't panic. We have a lot of close wins against tough competition, and that really stood up the most for me is those last minutes in a tight game.
Talk about last minutes in a tight game. How about your last game, the championship against St. John, a 66-63 final? Other than your loss to the Thompson Tommies, that was really your closest game of the season. Your thoughts on eking that one out?
Well, we came in with a game plan. We knew them pretty well, and we were going to help off a couple girls. And those girls, give them credit. They caught the ball and they didn't hesitate, and they fired and they were hitting them. So we were like, oh boy, we got to guard them and get on them. And that helped open up to some of their other main scorers. And that kind of got us disarray on defense a few times. And that got them going. And they actually took a lead in the second half. And there again, our girls came back and got the lead, and we were able to finish.
Rob, of course, in this first 22 games of the year, heading off to regionals next week, what are some things, you might have alluded to them a little bit, but what are some things that this team still needs to improve on as we go to the regional tournament?
We have to, I've always been a defensive first coach, and we have some struggles this year on our defensive. It's sometimes some of our main scorers are probably not our best defensive players or things like that. And it's always been, I wanted them to be studs in both. And we're trying to fix some things here depends on who we play, if they're dribble drive, inside orientated and so forth. But we have to be able to be strong on both ends of the floor, not just one.
And Rob, let's take a look at the regional tournament coming up. You take on the Hatton Northwood Thunder, a team you have not met yet this season. Your thoughts on the quarterfinal matchup?
They're tall, long. I think they have 4 girls about 6 foot, and they got a nice guard there, and who can score. So we haven't played them yet, and now I'm used to this super region we have been having. You play everyone in the region, so you have everything ready, what you want to do and whatever. So we haven't faced them live, so it'll be different for me. And but we use a lot of tape and scouting and try to get what best fits us. But we always have to remember we were 21-1 for a reason right now. We can't change a lot of things on who we are. We have to be who we are first, and then adapt and know what we're going to be facing, and hopefully take care of things on the defensive end mainly.
Coach, I've gotten to see your team firsthand. I may be bad luck because I was on the call when your team had
Thompson
only loss of the year against Thompson. But what impressed me the most is that obviously your front 6 mostly are seniors and juniors, but you got a lot of youth coming up on the squad. Where do you think this Langdon Area-Edmore-Munich program is, and where do you think it can get to still?
Well, first of all, yeah, you saw that game, and I tell you, you make a mistake on Thompson, they take advantage of it. And yeah, we had a lot of film session using that game on who taught you this, why'd you do this? I mean, we ran away from help, and they had us so disarrayed. I mean, that's why they're a great team too. But we have to give a better effort against a good team like that. And so anyway, but we do have youth. There's a couple 7th graders I can bring in. We face a zone. We can bring in a 7th grader here and one as a point guard. And, we bring in a freshman guard off the bench now too, who's pretty physical and can sprint full court defense. And, we bring in a girl last year who was our 6th girl this year, Aubrey Bading, who can rebound and play defense as well. And she can hit the outside shot lately now. So we're happy with that. And our 5 starters were, now they're able to get a break. Last year, they didn't get much breaks, and we can rotate people in on situations. But I'm not a robotic coach where, okay, you play the first 3 minutes and then you get a break for 2 minutes and this. No, I go by the feel of the game, and sometimes some some games I don't have the feel of the game, but what do we need here? And you're not guaranteed minutes. It's just like it's the matchups. So we feel comfortable with our bench.
Head coach Rob Scherr joining us. Rob, again, congratulations on the District 3 title with your ladies. Of course, get the credit for playing the games and getting the wins. And again, the regional tournament begins on Monday against Hatton Northwood. And more importantly than ever before, it's not just the top team that makes it. The top team makes it to the state tournament, but second and third have a shot as well.
Yeah, and that's a key thing. You win your first round game, obviously, or you go home. Then the semis is huge. I mean, you win, you move on, and you're going to have at least another game. You're either in or you're going to be challenged by the number 3 in the South region. But that puts that third and fourth, lose, you're done, and you're allowed to challenge the 2 from the South region. But I love the concept because you get the best teams in the state tournament at this time. Throw the regular season out, who's playing the best now. And I tell you, there's a lot of games a team has to win against quality competition to be the state champion this year. All the way through, it's going to be rough. And that's what's fun about it. But you're right. The challenge games, I think, add a lot. But we could get 3 teams from our region in the state tournament if our number 3 beats their 2 and our number 2 beats their 3. So
absolutely. It'll be fun to watch, and I don't want to look too far ahead. Mayport CG, the other district champions, so we'll save conversations on them until the game actually happens and even after the game happens. But Rob, thanks for the time as always. Best of luck to your ladies next week at the regionals.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And finally, we get to our senior spotlight. Our own Jake Berkmeyer had a one-on-one conversation with Landon Olson of Hillsborough Central Valley as Landon's heading to Mayville State coming up to play collegiate football in the fall. Here's our one-on-one conversation with Landon Olson.
Welcome back as we continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show and our senior athlete spotlight here for this week. We welcome Landon Olson from Hillsborough Central Valley Boroughs. There as a Landon, thanks for joining us here. Senior year, let's start right there. How things have gone so far for you, both on and off the court in the field?
It's been a good year. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, obviously, but honestly, I've been having so much fun this year.
Yeah. What does it feel different here being a senior?
Yeah, it definitely feels different knowing that this is your last year and it's all over after things wrap up.
Yeah. Let's talk about the football season here that we wrapped up a little bit back in the fall. Here for you guys, wins, loss, maybe not the year you wanted there, but take us through just what you were able to do, what you're able to accomplish out there this year.
Well, this football season was fun for me. I mean, obviously our wins and losses weren't like they normally have been last year, but with the new coaching staff, I loved all the coaches I've had throughout all my years. And we, as a team, I hope everyone had as much fun as I did because I had fun. We had our ups and downs, but every team does. So, I mean, it was a good year, I think, for us.
For you, you're one of the guys that high school football will not be the last that you put on the pads here. Getting to go to Mayville State. What was the process involved with that to be a Comet?
Well, it all started with first person who contacted me is Coach O, who, as you know, was our coach for the past 2 years there, and he started texting me talking about Mayville and. I had a few other colleges contact me, but they definitely had the best fit for me and for what I wanted to do with my post-high school career. So, I mean, it's also fun to go back to. It's kind of, I've had a few family members play for Mayville State. My grandpa used to play there. I've had some aunts and uncles that play there. So it was definitely kind of a cool decision to go back and play for Mayville.
Yeah, that kind of rolls into something I want to talk to you about there as a Central Valley kid and the Olson name throughout the years with the athletics and then going to Mayville State. What's that been like with are there expectations with that? Did you embrace it? How did you handle everything there?
I just think it's kind of cool knowing that your family might have a little legacy of being good athletes. I mean, you're only going to be as good as the effort you put forward. So, I mean, I've always tried to excel at everything I do. So having that legacy of my dad and my parents and my grandpa playing for this program for years, it's kind of cool. And I hope I fulfilled the expectations people of the community had set for me. So.
Do you get those fun moments maybe around the holidays, something all get together and just talk about those high school experiences then?
Oh yeah, it's always fun to hear about the glory days of my dad and his family and my mom and their family. So
yeah. I'd imagine too with Mayville State, as you mentioned, Coach Olson there, but also some former teammates part of the team. You had a lot of insight, a lot of information when making that decision too.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to, like, I went to a practice there and I got to see Caleb Halstead, one of my former teammates, and it makes it feel more like home and makes me feel like you're just not as much going somewhere new as just continuing your career, being around those guys you've known forever.
Yeah. Continuing your senior year into the basketball season right now, you guys just picked up a nice win here last night as we chat. And this season here, you've always been that inside guy that maybe a little bit undersized, but battling here. Tell us about how that kind of just your game has developed as you play.
Oh, I can't say I'm the most traditional player in the world, being a sort of undersized guy myself. But I've always tried to play stronger than the guy across from me, because being shorter, I'm going against guys that are 6'5", 6'8", bigger than me normally. But as long as you're not afraid of anyone, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. And you always hear guys talk about how big the other team is going to be, and I really just don't care how big the other guy I'm going against. As long as I can play my game, I don't tend to worry about it. So it's been fun. I mean, you gotta learn some moves to get around guys, because when you get blocked once or twice, it starts getting in your head a little bit, especially when you're this size playing down low.
You've had opportunity though throughout the years growing up, whether it was on the JV, C team stuff, though, going up against some good post players of past years. So how did that help develop your game?
Oh, that's going against the Gann and Limkeys and all those guys that have been in our program for the past year. We've had great center play for the past, as long as I can remember. And going against those guys every day has definitely made me a much better player than I've ever would have been without them, because iron sharpens iron kind of thing. If I wasn't playing against those guys, I wouldn't be nearly as capable of handling myself the way I can now.
You guys are in a tough region here, and with the tournament just a few weeks away here, what are you guys talking about? What are you guys doing here to get ready for that play?
We're talking about how we got to play our game. We got to play our strengths. But mostly our biggest thing is we got to play confident. Some of our guys, they haven't been most confident lately, but we got a bunch of great guys this year. And when we play confident and play hard, we play really well as a team. So that's pretty exciting for me, and I think for our program to know that as long as we get the confidence and a little bit of effort out of our guys, we could make a pretty good run this year.
Landon Olson with Hillsborough Central Valley, our senior athlete spotlight for the week. And Landon, we obviously know the senior is not over, but when you look back at your athletic career to this point, what are some of the moments, some of the things that have happened that you'll look back fondly on?
I'll definitely look back fondly of my sophomore year when we went to the Dakota Bowl. Experiences in my high school career. I look fondly on last year, definitely when we played Thompson at home, we had one of our best games against our rivals. I had one of the best games of my career against them. That's definitely one of the top moments. And also think of every time I had my first start in my sport, my first basketball start against Kindred last year, and my first football start against Park River 2 years ago. All those moments are the ones that just pop out to me, and I'll never forget. That was probably the day I die.
Yeah, awesome moments there. Now you've had some starts. Do you still get the nerves then? What's that like?
No, I don't get as nervous as I used to. When I was my first junior game when we played Kindred my first time starting junior, I was so sick to my stomach before the game because I was so nervous, never done this before. But I've had enough starts under my belt now that it really doesn't affect me that much anymore. I'm just excited to get out there and play.
Being out there, being part of the team, what are the lessons you've learned that you want to tell other kids, other underclassmen there of why you should be involved or what you should do when you are involved to be the best you can be?
There's nothing like a sports team. It's like a second family from home. It's those guys are guys that you're going to probably remember and probably be friends with for the rest of your life. There's nothing like the bonds that you get playing, especially football, basketball, baseball, or the sports I play. And those some of my best memories and some of my favorite people I've met through those sports. And I just would tell kids, don't be afraid to try something. Try a sport. Even if you don't think you'll be good, just try it. Try to get those bonds with people and just enjoy yourself. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you're enjoying it. That's all that really matters.
Off the court, off the field, what's some stuff about Landon Olson that people may not know, may not realize about you?
That's a tricky one. I mean, I don't know. Most of my life for the past 4 years has been sports. I mean, I've been a 3-sport athlete for 4 years now, and I don't know. That's most of my life is just training, getting better, trying to be. I mean, I've done some academic things in my life, but most sports has been my biggest driving force in my high school life. So that's pretty much all there is.
All right. Senior year of high school, only a few months left here. What are we looking forward to over the final stretch there of high school?
I'm looking forward to this basketball playoffs coming up here soon, next 3 weeks here. I'm looking forward to my baseball season that I yet to play. And then after that, it's all go on Comet football. I mean, this summer, it's going to be a big summer, and hopefully it'll set me up for a great career in college. And that's pretty much what this next stretch is going to look like.
Have we looked beyond that? I know senior year, so everyone asks you, what are you doing after high school? We obviously know about going to play football for the Comets there, but what else are you looking at?
Actually, my major that I've been playing around with is a sports medicine degree, which, I mean, I'd take 4 years at Mayville, then I'd have to go get a master's at UND. But my dream one day was to become one of those athletic trainers on the side of like a college football team, like be that guy on the UND or NDSU sideline that's with the players all the time, and just kind of trying to stay within the sports realm as long as I possibly can.
Well, certainly I wish you the best with that too. And Landon Olson from Hillsborough Central Valley, our senior athlete spotlight of the week. Landon, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate letting us get to know you a little bit more. Is there anything else you want to say, you want to share with us here about anything else? The floor is yours here to finish things out.
Well, first, thanks for having me on the show. It's nice to get to talk a little bit about my career and stuff, but I'm just excited for the next few weeks, and that's pretty much all I got for what's on my mind right now. So
I like that. Live in the moment. That's good advice, I think. So, Landon, and thanks so much. Appreciate the time here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for having me.
That does it for this week's edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. It's presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Thanks so much for joining us, and join us every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock here on YourLiveEvent.com.